Everyone has that one show that they're kind of ashamed to admit that they like. And for me, that's Kitchen Nightmares. I'm not a big reality TV guy. Super Nanny, Pawn Stars, American Idol, Duck Dynasty, none of that appeals to me. But for some reason, Kitchen Nightmares does. My guess is it's because of Gordon's amazing charisma, and admittedly it is pretty interesting to see what kind of trash restaurants there are out there. I will say though, the UK version is a lot better. It's quieter, there's not a lot of zany sound effects, and it feels more real. Not saying that the American version isn't, but I do know for a fact there are some parts that aren't exactly legit. But whether you like Kitchen Nightmares or not, we all can admit one thing. Amy's Baking Company was absolutely messed up. The day after this episode aired, it was all anybody could talk about. Gordon Ramsay, the most famous chef in the world, the guy who saved many terrible restaurants that were doomed to fail, walked out on Amy and Sammy Bazzaglo. Ever since then, Amy's Baking Company has been a massive punching bag, with everyone on the internet taking potshots at them, even to this day, long after they've closed up shop. But what if I told you that there's a restaurant worse than Amy's Baking Company? Well, you'd probably think I was a liar, but I'm not. I'm here to show you that Amy's Baking Company was not the worst restaurant on Kitchen Nightmares. That title goes to The Old Neighborhood in Colorado. This episode, oh man. So I got a strong stomach. Very few things can get me queasy. On that very small list are things like the Drawn Together movie, the presidency of James Buchanan, and this episode. Let's look at Amy's Baking Company critically here. Yes, the owners were absolutely insane and were PR disasters. They had no idea how to treat their customers. They also took tips away from their servers. Though they did get hourly, so it's not like they were working for free, but again, that's not cool at all. The most important parts of any restaurant are the sanitation and the food. Amy's Baking Company was spotless. Look at the fridge. Gordon Ramsay himself even admitted that he was blown away by the organization. I don't think that he has ever seen an independent restaurant that looked quite like this. It was almost run like a military base. Precision and order was the name of the game. Yeah, we do now know that Amy bought her desserts from a second-hand company, but that doesn't mean they were terrible. Scummy practices, yes, but the food was still serviceable. Until you got to the actual dinners. It took forever to come out, but when they did come out, the worst it got was crap store-bought frozen raviolis. And it's not like long wait times were an exclusive thing to Amy's Baking Company anyways. If I had $1 for every time Gordon Ramsay said something like, "What's the holdup when waiting for food?" I'd probably have a few dollars, quite a few of them. Maybe I could buy like a new pair of headphones or something, I don't know. The only reason that Amy's Baking Company got such a bad reputation was because, again, of the owners, their scummy practices, and their reactions to Gordon's criticism. They were, to put it simply, insane. But that's not to say that they're the only ones that were. Have you seen the food at the Old Neighborhood? Look at this stuff. It looks like a cheap sirloin steak covered in baby food. According to the waitress there, every single thing that they serve on that menu is covered with some kind of cream. And the cream almost never goes with the actual food. In other words, it clashes tremendously. So it's more than a doughy pizza or crap store-bought frozen raviolis. It's almost inedible because of its bad combinations and overall disgusting texture. But that's not all. When Gordon was taking a tour through the kitchen, which we'll talk about really soon, trust me, he saw that they put an entire can of non-stick spray on each and every steak that they cook. Not on the pans, on the steak. And an entire can at that. That is disgusting. Really disgusting. For one thing, the steaks don't even look very good. They look really cheap and rinky-dink, dime a dozen, that kind of stuff. Basically, your overly fatty sirloin. But when you cover it with this stuff, it looks a lot less appetizing. But if you thought the food was the worst part of the Old Neighborhood, let me tell ya, it's not. The sanitation in this place really makes me surprised that this wasn't condemned years ago. First of all, the first thing you see when you walk into the restaurant is this disgusting mannequin. That's great. When Gordon was waiting for his food, he got tired of looking at this hideous decor, so he decided to take a look around. What he saw were gashes in the wall, rips in the carpet, and dust and filth everywhere. No matter where he rubbed his finger, he collected at least 5 different kinds of poisonous microbes, let's be real. This restaurant was home to more dusty plates than customers. They never cleaned any of this stuff. It's always caked in dirt. Now that stuff's all out of the customer's reach, right? There's no way that that can possibly hurt them. If you think that, then I think you need to rub your finger across your desk once in a while. Having a dusty and dirty environment like that is not safe. Also, it's not away from the customers. This part always gets me. When Gordon is looking at the chair in the front of the house and lifts up the cushion. Just look at that. Look at all that filth, debris, and garbage that the owners let fall in there. People are supposed to sit there. People are supposed to come there, feel welcome, feel safe, and enjoy a good meal. To be fair, the place has basically no customers anyways, but even so, that's the intent. And they're sitting on mounds of filth. If they can't even be bothered to clean out the underside of their chairs, you know there's something wrong. And you can especially see that something wrong in the kitchen. If you thought the front of the house was bad, get a load of this. They put their meat thermometers in the wall. All of their technology is either outmoded and or filthy. And again, those disgusting cooking practices. And that's not the extent of it either. Allow me to introduce you to Randy. He's one of the 2 owners of the Old Neighborhood restaurant, and he is a Class A hoarder. He keeps things like broken equipment, old shoes, and many other pieces of garbage that nobody would have any use for. And he keeps it all in the back room. And some of it even at the front of the house. Why else do you think that mannequin's there? This shouldn't come as a surprise when I say Gordon was appalled by this. And he kept on digging more and more and more filth. With all the hoarding garbage and the bad food and the dirty everything. It's a wonder how this place wasn't deemed a biohazard. Gordon wondered that himself. In fact, this combined with the owner's refusal to listen almost made him walk out entirely. The only reason Gordon Ramsay ended up staying to help the Old Neighborhood was because the 2 owners tracked him down and literally begged him to stay. Yes, they got that desperate, and Gordon was that close to getting on out of there. The thing about the Old Neighborhood is that the 2 owners love it tremendously. Sure, they don't keep it up very well and their cooking is bleh, but they love the restaurant. It has a lot of sentimental value to them. So when Gordon called them out, they were actually willing to listen this time, especially when they saw how close he was to giving up on them. And that there is why I think people don't talk about this one as much as the wretched Amy's Baking Company. The thing about Amy's Baking Company is that the owners never learned. To this day, they still feel like they were the heroes. They were the good guys. Gordon Ramsay was just a big bad bully coming in to defame them and make them look terrible. How could they possibly be bad when everything Amy touches is absolutely delicious, even if it's store-bought pasta? The Old Neighborhood owners learned from their mistakes. As soon as they saw Gordon ready to walk out on them, they did everything they possibly could to not only accommodate him, but go above and beyond on his requests. They changed the menu, they cleaned the place, they got new decor. Not only that, but they stuck to it, long after Gordon Ramsay left. According to my reports, the only reason the place is closed now is because the owners wanted to retire and they sold the place off. Simple as that. They're one of the few restaurants that listened to Gordon Ramsay until the very end. This shows that they weren't too far gone. Yeah, their place was absolutely revolting, I mean, look at this stuff. But the people had good intentions. They were good people. Perhaps a bit misguided or uninformed on how to run a restaurant. Like most of the Kitchen Nightmares restaurants, they showed that all they needed was some direction from the world's greatest chef. Amy and Sammy were beyond saving. So, that's why everyone talks about that one a lot more. And I'm not defending them at all. Not in the slightest. They were terrible restaurant owners and terrible people in general with substandard food. But when you look at the full details, and you look at all the criteria, As a restaurant, the Old Neighborhood trumps it in every way. Well, folks, thanks for watching the video. Do you guys watch Kitchen Nightmares too? What'd you think of the Old Neighborhood? Comment below and let me know because I'm always excited to hear what you guys have to say. Thanks for watching, everyone. I'll see you guys next time.